All right, it looks like our numbers have stabilized, so we will go ahead and get started. My name is Cody Brandon. I use the he series of pronouns, and I serve as the graduate assistant for the Office of New Student and Family Programs, meaning I get to support all of you all in your transition to Duke University later on this summer. If this is your first time attending one of our webinar series, welcome. If you are attending a second or third or your fourth, welcome back. For those who are not aware, we host these weekly webinars throughout the summer to ensure that you all are getting information from the campus experts of our campus community in front of you all. And today we're meeting with some fine colleagues from Trinity College of Arts and Sciences. And without further ado, I will go over a couple of housekeeping or ground rules for Zoom today, and then I will pass it to my colleagues. And so, as I said earlier, this webinar is recorded. If you give us about 72 hours, we will have this on our NSFP website or our YouTube page in the same place where you are registered for this webinar. The chat is disabled, so we're only going to be answering questions using the Q&A feature. You will either see your answers are responded to in a typed manner in the Q&A section, and later on, we'll be having some of those questions answered live as a part of the webinar. And so you may see someone typing out an answer to you, or it may be flagged to answer later on as a live part of that. And I think that's all I have to go over, truly. And so I'll pass it over to Dr. High and Dr. Strasberger.
Thanks so much, Cody. Really appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. And first and foremost, welcome. On behalf of everybody in the Trinity College of Arts and Sciences Academic Advising Center, we are terrifically excited that you're here and really excited to begin working with you this summer. My name is Ian High, and I'm joined this afternoon by my director.
Hey y'all, my name is Madhavi Strasberger, and I also want to say welcome to Duke University. We're excited to spend a little bit of time with you this afternoon.
We've got a series of information that we want to share with you about advising, about what to expect this summer, a little bit about the Trinity curriculum, kind of walk you through some of these things that may be helping guide your decision-making process. We'll share a few resources, try to help make sure you feel ready for what comes next and you got some clarity over some big questions that may be coming up this summer and get a sense of who's going to help you answer those big questions. We'll take questions at the end. So again, my presentation won't take too long, but hopefully it will lay a foundation for a good conversation on the back end of this. So first and foremost, Trinity College has an advising ecosystem. While we are the academic advising center, we are not the only academic advisors on campus. We particularly, and for your kind of like moment here, are really interested in pre-major advising. Talk more about that in a minute. That's the Academic Advising Center. But when the time comes, when you declare your major in the spring of your sophomore year, you will also have a departmental advisor who will guide you through that department's curriculum as you move towards graduation. For those of you interested in health professions or law, among many other fields, we have pre-professional advisors with expertise in those areas as well. So again, there are lots of people here to support you from the moment of matriculation up until the moment of graduation, which the Academic Advising Center is just one of those. So as I was saying, first year, sophomore year, pre-major advising, we call quad advising. You'll have multiple opportunities at Duke to meet one-on-one with people who are pre-major advisors, your quad advisor, as well as folks in your major and pre-professional advisors. The Academic Advising Center is on East Campus, and we are on East Campus for a reason. The goal here is to be available to you. So for those of you that recognize this from your tour, this is East Campus. This is our building here in the back. Your quad advisor, while you will meet with them over Zoom this summer, will be available to meet with you in the fall in person and spring in person. We love when students come by and get a chance to actually meet one-on-one in person in our offices here. And so you will be assigned to a quad advisor really soon, who will work with you until you declare your major in the spring of your sophomore year. So when we talk about what a quad advisor, like who this person is and what they're going to offer you, the idea is that you have a thought partner, someone to help you as you're exploring classes and figuring out, am I going to be political science? Is it public policy? Is it art? Is it music? Is it econ? Is it physics? Is it a little bit of both? Like, what am I missing? Someone who will help you navigate these big questions, help you connect with people to answer those questions that are maybe not just us, maybe it's department meetings that you need to have, maybe it's some classes that you should go get invested in. The idea is, well, this is the pathway that I'm invested in. This is what I want to really study. This is what I'm curious about. What do I need to put my foot next to make that happen? The idea is we're not trying to put you on a path that we have in mind, but we're trying to help you figure out your path and what the kind of reasonable, most robust way through that path is. The idea is identifying goals. We're here to support you as you hit setbacks. That's what your quad advisor is here for. You're going to meet with this person as needed, but you will be required to meet with your quad advisor one-on-one 3 times during your first 2 years at Duke. The first of those here is this summer. So starting June 15th, running through July 28th, you will have a required meeting with an assigned quad advisor. Your quad advisor will reach out to you in the coming week directly to say, hi, here's who I am. Here's how you can make a meeting with me. Here are the things I'd like you to do in anticipation of this meeting. All students will register on July 29th. You will not be able to register until you've had this meeting with your quad advisor. So if there's some conflicts around this, you're traveling a lot over the summer, when you get that message from your quad advisor, we encourage you to get on their calendar as soon as possible, find the time that works for them and find the time that works for you. The message that they send to you next week will make clear exactly how to go about that. In the meantime, I'll probably mention this a couple of times. This is the advising.duke.edu website. Under Trinity Undergraduate Advising, you will see there's a page for incoming and first year students. Some of you will have already looked at that. Almost everything that I'm going to say in this webinar is going to be mapped out here in more detail. There's recommendations for how to go about looking for classes, reminders over what the course enrollment limits are, links to different placement guidelines you may have around math or chemistry or biology, thinking about language study. A lot of the questions that you may have coming into your meeting will at least get a kind of foundational quick answer here, which your quad advisor can elaborate in your meeting. So in the meantime, as you're preparing for this meeting, if you haven't done it already, check your inbox for AAC newsletters. You at some point are going to have too many newsletters in your life. For the summer, our newsletter is a really particularly valuable source of information for you around the academic side of things. Check out the advising.duke.edu website. Again, the incoming student page is a really, really good resource for you. Complete your first year questions by June 11th. Your first year questions are really valuable to your quad advisor who will look at them before your meeting to get a sense for who you are, what you're thinking about, where you've been, what you're passionate about, what you're curious about, what you're nervous about. Those questions are really valuable to us as we prepare for those meetings. If you have advanced placement and national baccalaureate, you have other pre-matriculation credits, please send them to the registrar. The registrar, you've seen this in the Blue Book before, is the place where you will send these scores. It's all mapped out on the registrar's website. It's also available to you in the Blue Book. And in the meantime, begin adding classes to your shopping cart in Duke Hub. Don't try to just put together the perfect schedule. You can do more than just 4 classes. The idea here, put in 8 classes, put in all the things you're curious about, put in that music class, put in that physics class, put in that economics class, put in that public policy class, that history course, and say you're going to realize there's more that you want to take than you could possibly hope to take in your first semester, let alone in 4 years. In the meantime, as I just mentioned, the registrar's website is a really rich resource for you. How to search for classes, how to register for classes when the time comes, how to validate different schedules to make sure there's no conflicts in them. Some of these things are less pertinent for right now as you're beginning just to kind of explore and poke around at Duke Hub, adding classes. But as you have questions, remember that there are help guides that the registrar has put together for you that will help you navigate Duke Hub. I want to talk a little bit about the arts and sciences curriculum today. I really kind of map this out in the biggest, broadest strokes that I can. Duke has a curriculum. It will guide the decisions that you make. As you imagine, it's already begun to influence some of the things that you're doing. So you need 34 credits to graduate. Most classes at Duke are 1 credit. There are half-credit classes. Up to 2 credits from pre-matriculation work, such as AP, IB course, and count towards that 34 requirement. Send all the scores that you have that Duke accepts, because they can be used for placement, even if they can't be used to reduce your credit load. 4 1-credit classes is considered a full-time load. That's what we're going for. For those of you in Constellations and Focus, I'll talk about that directly. But the idea here is we're trying to get into 4 1-credit classes. This, in broad overview, is Duke's curriculum. It is our liberal arts curriculum. You will have 2 courses in 6 different liberal arts categories that you're going to complete while you're here. You have a writing and a language requirement, and you will also pursue at least 1 major while you're here. I'm not going to go over this in detail. In many ways, this won't be overly driving your first year decisions other than your first year experience. Every class you take at Duke, every one credit class will carry one of these liberal arts category codes, moving you towards graduation. What I really want to highlight for you and really make clear is if you've been engaged at Duke for a while, you may have heard this, that our curriculum is also values driven. Curiosity, connections, humility are really supporting the foundational structures of this curriculum. That curiosity starts now with you searching for classes, you looking in psychology departments, maybe something you haven't had a chance to take in high school, taking a stats class because you've been curious about that, taking another English course, an early American literature course, being curious and hungry. This is not just at the moment of registration, but also in classes. Staying humble, recognizing you might not get your perfect schedule. That course that you take may be harder than you thought it was going to be. You may have setbacks. It's okay to ask for help. Your quad advisor is a part of this, someone to help you activate your curiosity and direct it, someone to support you when you run into a wall, to come to that person and say, I am actually struggling with this and I don't know what to do next. Can you help me figure out what my next moves are? And that person then may try to connect you either to the Academic Resource Center for support, to your faculty member, to another faculty member who's doing research in an area that you're really interested in, to another department to get you excited about a new field of study. There are lots of different ways in which these things are motivating the curriculum, and your quad advisor will be central to you in kind of activating each of these values. These are the 6 liberal arts categories that I talked to you about. Again, you will take 2 classes in each of these 6 categories at Duke in order to graduate. And every one credit class, your focus class, your constellation class, that psychology course you take, right, that history course you take is going to carry at least one of these codes, moving you towards graduation. Many of you at least will be fluent in the first year experience, which is a part of the Trinity undergraduate education curriculum. Constellations or focus, I'm going to speak to both of you, so you can tune out really briefly if you're in focus, and you can tune out a little bit if you're in constellations on those slides. But the idea is that each set of you are doing a set of 3 interconnected courses. The timing on each of them is a little bit different. Focus, you're going to take 2.5 credits in the fall. You'll be looking to add 2 additional classes to your schedule for the fall. In the spring, you'll take Writing 120, and then you'll be registering for at least 3 more classes. Constellation students, you're going to register for your first matched constellation. If you've been assigned to take Writing 120, and you should see this in Duke Hub, you should have received a message about this. If you've been required to take Writing 120, you will also register for Writing 120 in the fall. If you were not required to take it in the fall, you'll take it in the spring. Before classes start, you're trying to be registered for at least 4 one-credit classes. In the spring, you'll register for your second constellation course, and if you did not take Writing 120 in the fall, that's when you would take it then in the spring. For constellation students, one thing that I want to show you in Duke Hub, this is the advanced search menu, a really nice way to go explore different subjects and different offerings. You'll see the fall term here is highlighted in this video. You'll be looking here for the 2026 fall term, but I want you to see this is how you can find the courses in your constellation. So you go to course attribute, hit constellation, and then you hit course attribute value. You'll find a list of all of the constellations. You select your constellation, remove the show open classes only and hit search. And then you will see all of the classes that are in that constellation, including the Writing 120 sections. I show this to you, so some students in the constellation, you're looking for your specific sections of Writing 120 that are attached to your constellation. This is a really excellent way to begin finding them as you're adding things to your shopping cart. Another big set of things for you to think about over the summer is your language sequence. Some students will get started in a language in the fall. Some of you will pick a new language. Some of you will continue a language study that you've already started previously. Some of you will start in the spring. You'll start a new language. You'll continue a language in the spring. Our office's advice, the Academic Advising Center's advice, is to get started on language study no later than fall of your sophomore year. You're very, very welcome to get started right away in the fall. I know lots of students do that. You can also begin in the spring. And again, no later than fall of sophomore year is our recommendation to you. We won't be knocking on your door to say, why didn't you register for French or Japanese? But this is something that your quad advisor will talk with you about over the next couple of years to kind of make sure that you're on track with this. There are lots of different ways of fulfilling this, either continuing a language, beginning a new one, or doing a combination of those things. If you feel really proficient in French, you want to start in and take a 300 level culture, cinema, literature course in French, really stretch that muscle, really take that time you spent learning French in high school and apply it in a really wonderful and exciting way, pick up a good course code along the way, great. But if you're also hungry for new exposure to new languages, one way of doing the 3 required courses is, say, something like French 300. take Japanese 101 and 102 and satisfying your requirement. Obviously, continue to study those languages if you get excited about it. I also want to map out a handful of common concerns. I'm not going to address these in any great detail right now, but we know these things are on your mind. I've mentioned 401 credit classes several times. Course load, I know, is something people are thinking about. Placement, right? I just mentioned language placement. Languages have placement guidelines for you in those spaces. Math has placement guidelines for you. The department pages are a really wonderful resource for you. Wait lists are something that maybe you haven't experienced before. Some classes have a limited number of seats. You can enroll in wait lists. Your quad advisor will help you think about this. If you identify a course and you recognize, oh, there's only 3 seats left, I can't be the only one interested in this, ask them about wait lists in your meeting, and they'll walk you through how to handle them, how to manage them, how to be mindful about them. And then drop add, another new a new feature of registering for classes in college. Thinking the idea is that once you've got a schedule set, you've had your meeting, you've gone to registered, and then August, you say, I need to change my schedule. It's August 1st, you realize you want to change some things. You can do that. You can drop a class and add a class. And this continues all the way through the first 2 weeks of classes. There's a few caveats on that second week. We're going to need permission number to add a class. But the idea is that over the summer, you can make changes to your schedule. Your quad advisor can answer all of these questions. Most of these questions are going to be addressed and touched on that website I showed you earlier. So again, this is the advising.duke.edu, the page for incoming and first year students. You'll see a guide to selecting classes. You'll see some placement resources, links to language placement, links to math placement, links to chemistry placement. I know some of you will be thinking about those things. What I really want to make sure you know is that a quad advisor is going to reach out to you sometime before next week, or hopefully during next week. By the end of next week, you'll hear from your quad advisor directly. They will introduce themselves. They will send out a link to you with a scheduling tool so that you can find a time that works for you. You will have a Zoom meeting with that person sometime between June 15th and July 28th before registration. If you do not have this meeting over the summer, you will not be able to register on July 29th. You will probably have seen that there is an ELI, an eligibility hold on your account. Your quad advisor is the person who will remove that after you've had the meeting with them. So for now, look at these resources, go to our website and look through them. Look out for that email from your quad advisor. When they send it to you, make a meeting right away. Even if that meeting isn't going to be until mid-July, make it now. Don't wait till mid-July to try to make it. People's schedules are going to fill up. If you've got a time in mind that works for you because you're traveling, because you've got some opportunities to study that you're taking advantage of, if you've got a job, please make a meeting with them as soon as possible so that you can get in the schedule in the way that works for you. All right. I'll ask Madhavi to join me back on this side of things. I have not been paying attention to the chat at all. I don't know if there have been questions there. We've got lots of space and time to have a kind of robust conversation here on the back end of this.
Yeah, so thanks for your presentation, Dr. Hai. Before we get into the live Q&A questions, there were some that were typed out that I wanted to go through over live in this moment because
Perfect.
the folks who are watching this recording can get some of those. And so first I saw a question I want you all to answer. What does it mean if I go into my Duke Hub and I don't see a curriculum code indicated? What does that mean?
Yeah, so when you look at the course attributes for a given class, let's say you're looking at Philosophy 150, when you look at it, there's going to be a lot of narrative and description about like what is the course about? What are the curriculum codes it could or couldn't carry? Things about prerequisites. And so if you're looking for a class and it does not have a code listed, that means it doesn't carry one at all. At this point, all the codes have been appropriately applied to the classes. So we encourage you nonetheless to take a class if it's interesting to you and doesn't carry a curriculum code, but those with a code will be counted towards those liberal art categories that Dr. Hyde mentioned that you use towards graduation.
Thank you. Are we allowed to satisfy our foreign language requirement later on in our junior or senior year? I want to focus more on my pre-med courses so I can take the MCAT.
It's not an uncommon question. So again, we don't traffic in absolutes. We try to give you our very best advice and best practices. We like to say get started no later than fall of sophomore year for this reason. One, if you're thinking about studying away, right? If you're thinking about going abroad to study, Several of those programs, not all of them, would like you to have 2 semesters worth of study before you qualify for those experiences. So you could start your language here on campus for a year and then go abroad and finish your requirement, pick up some other classes. If you say, no, 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 I'm going to be pre-health. I'm not going to go abroad. I've got things I want to do. I really want to get started on math and chem and bio right away. What we find for students who put it off until their junior or senior year is it begins to pinch their schedules. You are no longer looking for Chem 101. You're looking for an upper level chemistry course with much smaller offerings. It doesn't meet at the same kind of robustness as something like Chem 101 does. It's a smaller class. It only meets at a certain time, and that conflicts with the Spanish 101 time that you need. So we find that students who put it off until their junior or senior year find their schedules to be pinched, that there are more conflicts with courses that they need for their major that don't meet as frequently. They have less options. Their schedule gets pinched. In your case, I would really encourage you to explore the summer offerings for languages. That can be a really useful way of doing that. There are study away programs for summer. There are summer opportunities to study language. So if you really feel like summer, like study of languages during the semester is not possible, which I would really say most likely is possible if you really map out your schedule, and it is totally reasonable. Lots of students do this. But if you're really concerned about this and trying to create some opportunities and space for your schedule to move a little bit, then looking at summer opportunities could be really valuable for you. Going abroad and picking up a couple of classes to get started on Spanish, then coming back to campus and taking a semester of Spanish to finish your requirement may be one way you might want to strategize that. But yeah, you can definitely wait. You're well within your rights to make a decision for yourself to wait until your senior year. I do not advise that. I would not recommend that. That's when I see students get pinched in uncomfortable ways by their schedule, but you get to make your own choices.
Thank you. And then lastly, before going over to the live questions, what is the maximum number of courses I can take in the fall and spring semesters?
Yeah, so for the fall semester, you'll be able to enroll into 4.5 credits. The minimum load that every student will be doing though is 4.0 credits. So every student will be in 4 classes, but you have the opportunity to go up to 4.5. In the spring, students are able to go up to 5.5 credits of courses. And so you have more flexibility in the spring, but in the fall, we just want to make sure everyone can do the standard load because taking about 4 credits each semester puts you well on track for graduation.
Thank you. All righty, moving to our live Q&A session, the exciting part of tonight. A couple of AP related questions I want to propose to the group. If I already sent my AP scores to Duke through College Board before I got accepted, do I need to resend them to use them now?
You shouldn't need to. However, you can make sure that Duke has it. When you log into Duke Hub, you'll be able to see the test scores that Duke has received. If you self-reported your AP scores during the admissions process, those don't count. Duke only accepts the official scores from College Board. So we really encourage students to check Duke Hub to see if it's in there. It will say like received from College Board or some language around that. If you're trying to figure out how to send it in, you make sure that it's sent to the Office of the Registrar here at Duke University.
And Madhavi, when would students expect to be able to see that live for something like AP or IB? Or
If Duke has already received scores from previous times, it should already be in there. However, I know there's a bunch of folks who took took their tests just in April or May. Those scores will be available in mid-July or early mid-July, and so we encourage students to double check at that point if Duke has received those official scores.
international students sending something like A levels, you may wait longer than that. So talk to your quad advisor about these things, bring them up in your meetings to say, I'm expecting my A levels. Most departments are going to want you to wait until those scores come in. We'll encourage you to have conversations with the directors of undergraduate studies so that, math, for example, knows that you're expecting to be able to move out of that, but they're going to want to wait for the official score to come in, not just a self-reported score.
When is the best time to submit AP scores with someone who took tests their senior year?
Yeah, so once the scores are available, we would encourage you to send those in. So again, I know AP scores should be coming out in early July. So once you receive your scores, it's a great moment to double check that Duke University has received it. And again, you can contact the Office of the Registrar, but again, that information, once it hits the system, will be available in Duke Hub for you to check.
Are we allowed to take 4.5 credits in our first semester of freshman year as well?
Yes. And so again, the normal load, the load we encourage every student to enroll in is going to be 4.0 credits. Half credit courses are courses such as PE, music, dance, there's some lab classes. So again, you can go up to 4.5, but at minimum 4.0.
How does placement work for language requirements using AP scores, for example?
Yeah, it's a really great question. Every department is different. And so if you've got a particular language that you've got AP scores that you want to bring in, you'll need to consult the department for placement. You cannot test out of Duke's requirement. You cannot use your high school language credits in order to fulfill a Duke requirement. But the idea is your scores can help place you into the appropriate level. If you've got 5 years of French study, French 101 is not the right class for you. Unfortunately, Dr. Strasberger and I cannot place you into French or Spanish or Japanese or Italian, but the departments have resources there to help you kind of navigate where you might fall. And then they will also have some open office hours throughout the summer or an email that you can send an email to say, here's my background in this study, here's the level that I am, here's where I think that I should fall. But your AP score is kind of a guide to help you land in the right spot. Is that 203 or 204, like mid to mid level, like, kind of starting in the intermediate French? Is it a 300 level course that's maybe going to be a culture course or literature course or cinema course? We can't place you into those things. The department's going to help you navigate that.
And is there a due date I should send my AP scores by? And if so, what is that date?
Before graduation. But no, flip aside. If you're using your AP scores for any sort of placement information or towards graduation requirements, like we encourage you to get them in as soon as you can this summer. However, like if you get to your junior or senior year and you're like, oh man, I forgot about this, or oh, I could use this for placement, you can send it at that time. But again, we encourage you to do so this summer just so you can go in with confidence about knowing what is being counted or not towards your time here at Duke.
And to clarify, I think your registration is on July the 29th. Even if you meet with your advisor on June 20th, you don't register until July 29th. So you've got until then. It'd be nice to have your AP scores on your record if you're going to use them to say something. If you got a 5 on the Calc BC exam and you're hoping to move into a kind of more advanced math, that needs to be on your record in order for you to register for that advanced math course. And so you want to make sure that in July, earlier enough in July, you're sending your scores in to make sure they're there for registration purposes. So if you're planning on using it to place into a higher level course, go look in Duke Hub. They will tell you what requirements may be there. Some AP scores are used for placement. Some of them are used to actually count as prerequisites for things. So the departments will help clarify this. And again, your quad advisor will illuminate all this. So like help them come in and say, I have a 5 on Calc BC. I have a question about placing into math, or I got this on the chem exam. Here's what I'm thinking. I got this on the English exam. I'm thinking about placing into one of these English courses. So bring these up in your quad advising meetings this summer. They'll help you navigate this process.
Can we also take prep classes during our first year?
It's definitely an option. I will say we always want to make sure our Pratt students can take Pratt courses first. And so if you're interested in taking courses such as EGR 101 or EGR 105, which are popular gateway courses for Pratt students, you will be able to sign up and share your interest through a form. I'm not sure if it's live quite yet, but your quad advisor could be able to point you to that. Once all Pratt students register, and if there's space in those intro engineering courses, Trinity students can absolutely try to sign up for that.
Does the half credit from doing marching band count towards the 4.5 maximum?
Say that one more time, Cody. The 4.5 credit for
Does the half credit from doing marching band count towards the 4.5 maximum?
it does.
And what day are first year questions due?
Great question. So we really are encouraging students to complete first year questions by June 11th. Or really anytime before you meet with your quad advisor. That just gives your quad advisor really rich information about you as a student and a scholar and a person coming to Duke and all of your excitement. And it can really just make your advising conversations that much more robust. The deadline, however, is July 29th, because if you do not complete the first year questions, there is a registration hold on your account. So the sooner the better, just because then it makes your advising experience that much more fruitful.
Okay, a couple more AP questions coming at you all. Is there any advantage to using our AP credits to get higher level courses, considering the credits will be the same even for a lower level course and a higher level?
It's a so Yes, exposure to the appropriate level is it matters. Like,
Mhm.
again, I use the example of if you've got 5 years of French, taking French 101 is not a valuable use of your time. I understand that it's simpler, the lift is lighter, but you taking a 300 level course that's going to give you maybe a humanistic inquiry code, an HI code towards graduation, and expose you to Balzac, right, and then like allow you to read some really incredible French literature or to enjoy contemporary French cinema or to talk about French politics with people who are also interested in this is a much more enriching educational experience. It's going to be a much more rewarding environment. That opportunity also is going to be the one that opens doors for other ones. This is also true. We don't want you just to take the most advanced mathematics class because that's what you're accustomed to doing if you're going to not be studying math while you're here. The idea is we want to find the appropriate placement based on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you've got ambitions to do some really advanced level math while you're here, then like, yeah, let's get you started. You don't need to start in Calc 1 if you're ready to move past that. But we don't need you to take matrices and vectors your first semester if you're thinking you might want to study economics and public policy while you're here. So the idea is we want to speak with your quad advisor about what your interests are. You still have space to change your mind. You don't have to get this all right. But the idea here is that really your education is an opportunity, not just a set of requirements that you're after. It's a chance to grow who you are as a person, to read new forms of literature, to take on new problem sets and solve world issues and complicated equations in meaningful, enriched ways. And so you should put yourself in an environment that challenges you, that asks you to push yourself a little bit farther. Don't just take a low level course because it's a little bit simpler and lighter. You won't walk away and leave this place with the same experience as somebody who really took advantage of all the opportunities. Because those are the students who are going to be given opportunities to get connected to colleagues in other places, opportunities in labs, opportunities for research, right? You really want to make it clear you're hungry and you're excited and you're eager to learn and you're curious. You're ready to be humble about these things. So yeah, take the class that's the right fit for you, not the one that's the easiest.
Does the free score send from College Board or redesignated by June 20th work? Do we have to pay to send those scores in now?
I don't think I can answer that question.
I'm not quite sure either. That's a really great question if you want to check in with the admissions office, because I'm sure they field that, or with College Board, but unfortunately, we're not we're not positioned to answer that.
Switching gears a little bit here. When do you start completing the coursework that goes toward your major requirements?
In your first semester. So every student in Trinity College will be doing a first year experience, be it Focus or Constellation that Dr. High had mentioned. Those courses count towards graduation requirements since all students will need to do that. Every course you take will count for something, either for course credit towards the graduation requirements, or it's going to be something for your major, your minor, things that you just find fun. So again, the minute you start taking classes in September, everything counts towards graduation.
If I'm already fluent in a language, is there any way to test out of that requirement, or should I take a higher level of that same language?
A really good question. So you cannot test out of the language requirement. I know that can be frustrating if you say, like, I speak 3 languages in my home. Like, why do I need to keep studying language? The idea is then you're not here to acquire a new language necessarily. Like you're here to really grow your experience using the languages in which you have like, previous experience. So for some students, the idea is, well, I'm fluent in this, but I like literacy has been slower. Right? I'm really fluent, I can understand, I can speak, but I don't read it well. We have some classes that are targeted at native speakers, right, who are gaining literacy skills. Um, the idea here is that there is an advanced literature course in these languages that will be meaningful to you and fulfilling to you and create some new opportunities for you to use your language at a really high level. It's also a chance for you to step back and say, what are some languages that maybe I've never had a chance to learn that I'm curious about? We have more than just German, French, and Spanish, right? There are a lot of languages at this university that are taught, real opportunities for you to grow, but you cannot test out of that requirement. It's something that you will do while you're here. So if you are taking 300 level courses, at least you're going to take 2 language courses while you're here. So if you speak German and you speak French and you want to take a German course and a French course, that would satisfy your requirement. So for those of you that have really strong language skills coming in, your requirement would be reduced to 2 if you were taking 300 level above courses. For those of you starting new languages or jumping in the middle of a sequence, it's likely going to be 3 classes in the sequence. But take the opportunity. There's so many wonderful classes here. Like take the opportunity to do something really great and really rich.
Do we get to choose our focus classes or are they already pre-assigned?
Those are already pre-assigned for you. So if you are a focus student, if you check Duke Hub, you're already registered for your 2.5 credits of focus classes. So make sure to go check that out.
Is the elementary Greek course ancient or modern Greek?
Ooh.
I don't know that off the top of my head. That feels
No.
like a real quiz moment. You'll have to look in Duke Hub.
Yeah.
So in Duke Hub, go find the course, and then you should see a description. If the description doesn't tell you what you need to know in that moment, go to the department's website and go look at their courses tab. It may map it out there. And if not, then bring this question to your quad advisor and say, I looked here and I've looked here. And then the two of you will work together to go find an answer to this question. But go check Duke Hub first. My suspicion is that it's in the course description.
I saw a question that reads, if I don't get my housing assignment until mid-July, would that impact my quad advisor? Or when I tell my quad advisor, rather?
No, we might reassign you one. So for anyone who doesn't have a housing assignment, and again, we tie advising assignments based on what your quad vertical is or quad connection is going to be. You will be assigned an advisor, but we might reassign you so that once you get your housing, you're in that quad connection.
But you will meet with someone over the summer. Somebody will
Yes,
be available to you. So it will not impact your ability to have your eligibility hold removed before registration.
correct.
I saw something mentioned about century courses being introduced in fall of 2026. Could I ask what that is about?
It's a great question. We were really trying to keep this really high level, and that's kind of in the weeds. So century courses are a special designation of course. You can like do a quick Google search for Duke Century courses. You can search them in Duke Hub specifically under century courses. What makes Duke Century courses really special is that the faculty have kind of tried to answer the question, if you could take one class in our field, you're only going to take one chemistry course. What's the chemistry course you should take? And they're building these special courses out and designated them. If you take that century course, the exception is that it will carry two codes. So as we said, every one credit course will carry one liberal arts category code. Century courses will carry two. So sometimes it is the same code. You'll get two of the same code and you'll satisfy both requirements with one class. Sometimes it's two different codes. So you'll walk away from a century course with two different liberal arts category codes. You can take as many century courses as you want while you're here. Only the first two or only two total will count towards the double code. So if you took three, you're gonna get five codes in that sense. So century courses are definitely great introductory courses. They are all designed for students who have no exposure to the field. So you don't have to have studied chemistry in order to take the chemistry century course. You don't have to have studied global politics to take the international comparative studies like century course that's available. So definitely encourage students to go check out the century courses. It's a great opportunity to go pick up one course credit, but two liberal arts category codes with one class.
What reasons count as an extenuating circumstance to change the first year experience?
We can't really answer that because that's not our shop or our office. We don't review your applications. We are not the ones deciding where you've been placed, and we're not the ones deciding what rise of that occasion. If you feel like you have a strong extenuating circumstance, that means you need to be in a different first year experience than the one you've been. In early August, on the first year experience website, there will be a form that you can request a change. It'll be open, I think, from August 3rd to the 9th. Early August, look for it then. It was in the email, I think, when you got your assignment about when this will be posted. So fill out that form, lay out your reasons for this, and then they will review them. That team will review them and make their determination to that point. But I can't tell you what would count or what wouldn't count.
Thank you. For a focus group, should I be concerned if I only see one focus class? Aren't I supposed to find out to take two one credit classes in the fall?
Yeah, that's a great question to surface with your quad advisor when you meet with them. You should see 2.5 credits. If you don't, I would actually, no, let me amend that. I'd reach out to the focus program just to double check. So their email is focus@duke.edu, but you should be in 2.5 credits.
I was assigned to a constellation that conflicts with Computer Science 201. And as someone who plans on majoring in computer science, this would greatly hinder my ability to take computer science classes in the future semesters, as 201 is a common prereq. Is there any way I can either switch constellations or take both classes?
A great question. And we've gotten a couple of questions of like my focus or my constellation conflicts with enter any sort of course. I will say a scheduling conflict is not going to be a reason that falls under extenuating circumstances. I can say that with confidence, simply because any major at Duke University, you can wait to start taking courses in that pathway until your sophomore year. There is no major you need to start in your first semester, let alone your first year. I will name that can be really frustrating if this is a course that you're really excited for. But in terms of sequencing and making sure you're on track for graduation requirements for a particular academic pathway, you're in totally great shape.
Especially if you're starting in 201. I
Exactly.
know that you're really eager to get started on advanced coursework down the road, but there are some students who have never had a CS opportunity. They're going to take 101 in the fall. Right? You starting in 101 in the or 201, excuse me, in the fall would only just put you in an accelerated pathway through that major. And so starting in the spring, I think is a really reasonable outcome. I don't think it's going to hinder your progress in that major. And I think computer science would also really back us on this one, that it's okay for you to wait to take 201 until the spring.
Will slash can my advisor have any direct control over what classes I can take? For instance, can they stop me from taking certain classes or require me to take others? Also, do advisors help with registration itself, or will they more so guide me on how to do it myself?
These are really great questions. No, your quad advisor has no say so over your schedule. Your schedule. You get to make the decisions. That's why I said your language study, we recommend you do it by fall of sophomore year. Get started no later than that point. Again, this fall is totally great. This spring, totally great. You want to wait until fall sophomore year? Reasonable. You want to wait until the fall of your senior year? That's the choice you get to make. Our job is to advise you, to give you the best practice advice, to share what we've seen work and what not work, to warn you, to remind you that you're pursuing this STEM pathway and you haven't done any of your required humanistic inquiry or creating and engaging with arts credits or any of your natural world requirements. The idea here is that we can say, if you don't begin to do these things, I'm concerned about your ability to graduate in the time you have left. So our job is to caution you when we think that you are going down a path that's going to cause problems for you. We're wrong sometimes. You know you best. You know the decision's best, but we're never going to place you into a class. We're never going to tell you not to do this. We might tell you we've seen a lot of students struggle when they try to take 3 lab classes in the same semester. We don't recommend taking any more than 2 lab classes in the same semester, but you are definitely allowed to enroll in 3 lab classes in the same semester. We're telling you we don't advise this because we've seen students not be brilliant. It's not because they're not brilliant. It's not because they're not capable. It's because they just don't have enough time in the day to do their very best work across that kind of load. That's why this university asks you to take up to 4.5 credits in your first semester. We want you to feel what a Duke course load looks and feels like. A semester of you getting accustomed to the demands of your class, of this new schedule, of a new social life, of a new academic life. Take some time. And then in the spring, if you want to add another class and take 5.5 credits, you're well within your right to do so. This is a multi-tiered question. So that was the big part of it. We're not going to govern your schedule. We're here to advise you and support you. The registration logistics. We can help move you through Duke Hub and answer some questions about searching for classes, how to interpret what's in a course description or the codes that are bearing. If you run into an issue with the shopping cart, we can't troubleshoot this. So we're going to point you to the registrar's help guides. That's why they're in my slide. The registrar oversees Duke Hub and the registration process. And so if you have really high level questions about technical side of registration, we're going to point you to the registrar, but we can help do a lot of level setting over how to move through Duke Hub and what's going on in that space. Your quad advisor will be a really good resource for the mechanics of registration.
Couple more AP questions for us. I told Duke I was going to take certain AP courses whenever I was applying, but now that I've got admitted, I don't want to submit those scores. Do I still have to?
Nope.
Nope.
Should I wait to submit my AP scores until I have all of them in July, or go ahead and submit them now and then the other ones in July?
I mean, it would just depend on when in July would be my kind of question. I would say there's no problem in you waiting, right? If it's gonna be the first week of July, like fine. If it's gonna be July 23rd, why not send your first scores in now?
Yeah.
Let's get in what we can. I would not be at anxious or worried about AP score dating. You could totally wait. You've got lots of time. Let it sit for a while. If you want to just feel like, you know what, I don't want to worry about this, I'll send two batches. That's not going to cause a problem. You're not going to like override your old scores or anything like that. So it's kind of up to you. I wouldn't be too stressed about it.
I'd just add if there's a cost dimension, that's what I was pausing. You can't remember if it costs to send it. Like if you're being considerate of that, send it in one batch. But if that's not an issue or a concern, then send them when you're ready to send them.
I want to graduate 1 year earlier. Can I transfer more than 2 AP credits for acceleration?
This is a really good question for your quad advisor who will walk you through the policy that exists. There is an early graduation policy, and you've looked at this already because it does activate other AP scores for you. It can be complicated, and you're going to need to have a conversation at some point down the road with your academic dean, who has not been assigned to your record yet, and probably won't be until closer to the first day of classes. This is not a thing you have to solve on day one, not even week one, not even semester one. So I would say really reasonable question. Yes, other AP scores can come into play if you're planning on graduating early, but there is a formal process you need to engage in to make that happen, and lots of people who are gonna like support you through that process. So the answer is yes. I would say get here first, begin to have these conversations, and then we can lay out what your 3 year path through Duke looks like.
Aside from language and writing courses, what are other required graduation classes?
Super good. Look through the curriculum, the Trinity curriculum. There are the six liberal arts category codes. You're going to take two courses that satisfy each of those six courses. Now, it's not a specific course, right? It's not public policy. It's not political science. A history course may satisfy one of them. An English course may satisfy another. A music class may satisfy another. A physics course would grab another. So the liberal arts category codes represent 12 classes. You have your language requirement. You have your first year experience, which is a part of your requirement. So for those of you that are feeling frustrated by potentially a focus or a constellation conflicting with something you'd prefer to take, please recognize that the first year experience is a requirement of the curriculum. You are satisfying a curricular requirement by taking that constellation course. It is going to move you forward. It's going to carry a liberal arts category code as well. So you're going to get your first year experience done, and you're going to get a liberal arts category code towards that. Having a major is the last requirement of this. You have to have a major in order to graduate. You can have a double major, you can have a major and a minor, you can do a major and certificate, lots of pathways. You don't have to solve that part of the equation before you start. And in many ways, I encourage you to really keep an open mind about what that might look like before you get here. But yeah, I think that's kind of the best way to think about that is to go look at the liberal arts category codes. That is the real core of the requirements here, in addition to your major and then the writing and language in your first year experience.
What does it mean when registering for a PE course that says there is a PE activity course required? It won't allow me to place these in my cart even when there are spots open in the class.
I don't know the answer to that one. I would say this is something to flag with your quad advisor. They can work with you to read through the course description and to see like what's going on there, but I don't actually have an immediate answer to that unless Ian, if you happen to know.
No, I can't think of what that would be. I'd have to see the course. It'd be helpful to see the course, and then I'd
Yeah.
be able to piece it together if I could actually see the course. It may be tethered to something else. It may be, yeah, there could be I can think of lots of reasons that I won't enumerate them now. But yeah, talk to your quad advisor about it and they'll help you figure out what the next steps are. These are definitely things we can get solved before July 29th.
I'm in Pratt right now. I transferred from Trinity earlier, but my first year questions have updated. What do I do?
I don't, I don't, help me understand this question, Monody.
Yeah. So a student what's in if the original school they enrolled in, they'll see those schools like
Oh,
for
the FYQ, the first year question.
yeah. Ha If you're that student, email the advising inbox, advising@duke.edu, and we can help you get that sorted out. It's going to be a back-end technical thing, and so that's something we can get you connected to the right people. So again, email us at advising@duke.edu, and we can make sure you get the right first year questions.
I believe we answered this one earlier, but I want to circle us back to this. Can you still access Trinity Advising if you are in the Pratt School?
You can. So we have colleagues in our office that work specifically with Pratt to Trinity transfers and Trinity to Pratt transfers. And so, yes, that's another one where, based on your housing assignment, there is a colleague in our office who will chat with you. So it's a great one. If you have general advising questions at this point, we've been asking students to email us at advising.duke.edu. But once you get your housing assignment, you can see who that specific senior quad advisor is to support your questions around that.
And I would say if you're a Pratt student looking for Pratt advice, then that's when we won't be able to serve you well. Our expertise is over the Trinity curriculum and the Trinity requirements and policies to help you navigate decisions within Trinity. So if you're a Pratt student trying to figure out Trinity curricula and Trinity requirements, or if you have questions about Trinity departments, we're here for you. But if you have questions about like biomechanical engineering, we're going to send you to your Pratt dean. So for those of you new to Pratt and trying to navigate around, you will hear from your Pratt academic dean over the summer. You'll meet with them. They will serve and offer you academic advice over the summer.
And just know too, you can email the general Pratt advising. It's like pratt-advising@duke.edu. They also just did a summer transition series as well. And I know that recording is live for folks to kind of look through. So check that out as well for as a resource.
If you don't have a credit for AP Spanish, can you test out as you test into higher levels?
Yeah. So again, we're not testing out, right? Like, don't think about it that way. You're placing into the right class. And yes, AP credit is not required for Spanish placement. Again, we want to be really specific about what language we're talking about. Every language is a little bit different in how it operates. But generally speaking, AP credit is a guide towards language placement, not a requirement for Spanish placement. So the idea is you're like, hey, I'm natively fluent in Spanish. Or I did this trip over the summer and my language isn't reflective of my AP score anymore. Like, you are going to work with the Spanish team to help place you in the right spot. So go check out the Spanish website, go look at language resources. They will show you old syllabi. They have lots of different ways of trying to help you figure out what is the right course for you. And I can also say that every language class on the first day has a moment of placement. They're going to ask you all, it's not a graded quiz, but it's kind of a level setting moment where every language course is going to say, like, is this the right course for everybody in the room? They have different ways of assessing this, but they're going to try to make sure that on day one that everybody's in the right spot. So yeah, again, you don't have to have a Spanish an AP score in order to say, actually, like, I'm a native language speaker, I should definitely be in a 300 level course on, contemporary politics in Latin America. Yes, and reach out to the Spanish department if you have real questions about that moment.
I'll also add both Spanish and French are going to do drop-in advising this summer via Zoom. And so the dates and times for those are listed on their website. So that's also a moment too. You don't have to wait until you're here on campus to chat with someone in the departments. I know Spanish and French definitely are offering things in June and July.
I think the answer remains the same, but I'll ask this question anywho. How do we take placement exams and when?
So the very few, so placement exams is a broad term. So the placement, what I'm talking about, the ungraded placement, like, kind of quiz, or moment, is rubric. I don't know how they want to think about it. The tool that for placement is done on the first day of classes and in lots of departments. For something like math placement, it's going to be really different. Math is going to have some prerequisites. They're going to want an AP score to help count towards the calculus requirement to move you into something like matrices and vectors. The math department has a really robust placement resources, and they have placement exams that are not graded. Math doesn't need to see them. They're there. They're self-tutorial tools for you. Questions and answers so that you could sit down over 45 minutes, answer the questions, and help guide. Should I be in Calc 1? Should be Calc 2? Actually, maybe it's multivariable calculus for me. So again, those are not graded. You can find them available right now on the math placement page. Russian does have a placement exam. And so if you're thinking about placing into advanced Russian, then you need to reach out to that department. Go look at their website. They will lay out everything for you about what you need to do and when you need to do it. There are very few programs that have a formal placement exam. Many of them are going to be self-placement tools to help you find the right thing. And if they have a formal placement requirement, it's going to be done at the level of prerequisite for the course. So a 5 on Calc BC gets you a math credit that allows you to place system-wise, allows you to have a prerequisite to allow you to place into advanced math.
What is meant by a code?
Great, liberal arts category codes. I'm gonna go back to my slide on this just because I think it's helpful. These are the 6 liberal arts categories. 1 credit classes will carry one of these codes. A geology course may carry investigating in the natural world, for example. A public policy class may carry the social and behavioral analysis code. A literature course may carry the humanistic inquiry code. So I take Shakespeare in my first semester. I take geology in my first semester. I take public policy in my first semester. I will have picked up the HI code, the NW code, and the SB code, all in my first semester. I need 2 of these codes to graduate. Somebody asked about century courses. A century course is special because instead of carrying 1 of these codes, century courses will carry 2 of these codes. Sometimes 2 of the same code, sometimes 1 of 2 different codes. So the idea is when I say picking up codes, and you're going to pick up a code, it's one of these liberal arts category codes. So your constellation courses will all carry one of these. Your focus courses will carry these. Every course that's 1 credit class in most departments is going to carry one of these codes. You will need 12 of them, right? So 2 in each of these 6 categories in order to graduate. That's what I mean by codes.
Mhm.
Thank you. A couple more questions as we're coming up on our time. Um, there's a couple of questions surrounding focus clusters being assigned to particular residence halls. So I think the question amongst all of this is, are students in the genetics or genomics focus cluster all zoned to the Bassett Residence Hall?
That I'm not sure. However, I will say housing assignments are coming out tomorrow, so you'll get information about like where you're living. But to confirm, if you are in a focused cluster, you will be living together with your cluster. And so that is where certain clusters are zoned to different residence halls. That tends to change over periodically. So if it was in Bassett last year, I don't know if it's going to be in Bassett again, but just know, hang tight for your housing assignments, and you're going to get that information very shortly.
Why do I not see my assigned advisor in my Duke Hub just yet?
It's not in there yet.
It's not in there yet.
Um, It will be soon.
Yes.
I can't tell you exactly what day it's going to be, but we hope that by like sometime next week, you will hear from your quad advisor directly.
Yeah.
And you may see their name pop up in Duke Hub. Wait for their email that's coming into you. Those assignments will be there very soon. They're not there yet.
Yeah, and to explain why. So again, we have been using the language of quad advisors for a pre-major advisor. And the reason for that is your housing assignment helps dictate who your advisor is going to be. And that's something we're really intentional because again, these advisors are going to be with you from matriculation through major declaration. And we wanted sort of that other level of like knowing you and your like sort of social connections on campus. So again, housing assignments come out tomorrow. And once we have the housing data, we're then able to make those advisor assignments. So it's a bit of a domino effect, if you will. But again, as Dr. High mentioned, you will be getting that information very soon in Duke Hub.
Do you have to have a 5 on your AP scores or is a 4 accepted?
It depends. It depends. And so there's a really great AP placement guidelines page. Again, you can access that through our advising website. I think there's some information also on the registrar's page. So it truly depends on the class.
And what date does registration begin?
So the registration window opens on Wednesday, July 29th, and then it will stay open through the first 2 weeks of classes. So students have the opportunity to sign up for their courses, then go to class and to make sure it's the right fit for you, or you might hear about a groovy new class. And so you can continue making changes up until that time.
Okay. Thank you all so much. This was a great webinar, lots of great questions. Should you have any more questions, feel free to email them to studentorientation@duke.edu. I'll put that in the chat right now, and we will make sure to connect you to someone who has the answer for you. A huge shout out to Dr. Hyde and Dr. Strasberger for being our great panelists today and answering all the wonderful and amazing questions. As a reminder, the webinar that you all watch today live or will watch in the future is in fact being recorded today. It will be posted on our NSFP website where you are registered for the webinar in about 72 hours, as well as on our YouTube page. And so without further ado, thank you all for joining us and we'll see you shortly. Bye,
Best
everyone.
of luck, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.